Let's talk about Donald Trump's health, specifically his hands, which have become an unexpected focal point in recent weeks. While politicians are often scrutinized for their words or policies, sometimes it's the smallest details, like a bruise, that spark the biggest conversations. Recently, Trump's hand looked like he'd lost a fight with a jam jar, the kind of injury that's both mundane and oddly mysterious when it happens to a former president. In late August, sharp-eyed observers noticed photos of his right hand covered in purple and red bruises. Deep, vivid marks that make you wince just looking at them. For someone constantly in the public eye, every mark tells a story, and this one was impossible to ignore. The story really took off on August 22nd when Trump appeared at the People's House Museum. Cameras caught his hand caked in makeup, an obvious attempt to hide the bruising. Instead of calming speculation, the cover-up only drew more attention, with people wondering what he was trying to conceal. By August 25th, during a high-profile meeting with South Korea's president, the makeup was gone, and the bruise was on full display. The images quickly went viral, sparking wild speculation online. Was it a simple fall, a clumsy accident, or something more serious? Some wondered if it was the result of a medical procedure, perhaps an IV, blood draw, or even a minor surgery. Others speculated about underlying health conditions that could cause such bruising, especially in someone of Trump's age. Theories flew across newsrooms and social media feeds because when the president's health is in question, so is his fitness for office. Every unexplained mark becomes a matter of national debate. This isn't the first time Trump's hands have made headlines. In the past, he blamed similar marks on excessive handshaking, a plausible excuse for a politician but one that's starting to wear thin as the incidents pile up. This time the bruise was more pronounced and the failed attempt to cover it up with makeup only fueled suspicion. The public's curiosity turned to concern, and concern to skepticism. Social media exploded, with millions demanding answers. Hashtags trended, memes circulated, and armchair doctors weighed in with their own diagnoses. The incident quickly became a symbol of a bigger issue, a visible sign, a questionable explanation, and a growing sense that the public isn't being told the whole truth. Reporters pressed for clarity, while the public grew more anxious. In an age of instant information, uncertainty spreads fast, and people want transparency from their leaders. Like a bruise, the sense that we're not getting the full story just keeps spreading, growing darker and harder to ignore with each passing day. The official explanation? It came swiftly, as if to put all speculation to rest before it could even begin. But as with many things in the world of politics and health, the story is rarely that simple. Chronic venous insufficiency, or CVI, was cited by Trump's physician, Dr. Sean Barbabella, as the underlying cause. On paper, it sounds straightforward. A common vascular condition, not something that would typically make headlines. CVI happens when veins in the legs can't efficiently return blood to the heart, leading to swelling, discomfort, and sometimes visible varicose veins. The legs are almost always the main area affected, not the hands. While CVI is relatively common, especially in older adults, it's not as benign as the White House press release might suggest. If left untreated, it can progress to skin changes, ulcers, and even more severe complications. But here's where things get interesting. Vascular specialists point out that bruising on the hand isn't a classic symptom of CVI. In fact, it's quite unusual. It's a bit like trying to explain a headache by pointing to a sprained ankle. The connection just doesn't add up for most medical professionals. Some have speculated that the bruise could be a side effect of medical treatment, such as blood thinners or IV lines, or perhaps the result of a minor injury unrelated to CVI. The White House seems eager for CVI to be the catch-all answer, but the broader medical community remains skeptical, debating the plausibility of this explanation. The presence of a hand bruise just doesn't fit the established narrative, and instead of closing the case, it's only fueling more questions and speculation. It could be an odd, rare presentation of CVI, or it might point to a completely different medical issue that hasn't been disclosed. When the official story leaves gaps, it's only natural for people to search for more satisfying answers, especially when it comes to the health of a public figure. For now, the official explanation is struggling to convince, and the mystery around the hand bruise remains unsolved. The White House's response? Blame handshakes and aspirin. They claim frequent handshaking caused minor irritation, amplified by Trump's use of aspirin, a blood thinner that makes bruising more likely. On paper, it sounds plausible. A bump plus aspirin equals a big bruise. But if it's so simple, why the heavy makeup and secrecy? The attempt to hide it made the explanation seem less credible. It's like a kid with chocolate on his face denying he touched the cookies. The cover-up became more suspicious than the bruise itself. Critics say this fits a pattern shifting stories and a lack of transparency. The narrative feels crafted to quiet concern, not to inform. The administration's response was more PR than medical disclosure, and that only deepened public doubt. Demands for presidential health transparency are nothing new. History is full of presidents hiding illnesses. Grover Cleveland's secret surgery, Wilson's hidden stroke. Trump's bruised hand taps into this legacy of secrecy. The makeup, the slick explanations, and the nothing-to-see-here attitude have fueled public suspicion. Polls show nearly half of Americans already doubted Trump's health transparency before this incident. Now petitions demand full medical records, not just summaries. When the White House hides details, trust erodes, and conspiracy theories fill the gap. The administration's reluctance to be open only invites more scrutiny. If people can't trust you about a bruise, they won't trust you on bigger issues. Donald Trump is 79, the oldest president ever inaugurated. His age is not just a number, it's a historic milestone that shapes perceptions both at home and abroad. For the first time, the nation is led by someone approaching 80, a reality that brings both experience and new challenges to the Oval Office. Age isn't disqualifying, but it brings higher health risks, especially in a job as stressful as the presidency. The demands of the office are relentless: long hours, constant decision-making, and the weight of global responsibility. Every stumble or visible ailment is magnified for an older leader. Even minor slips or hesitations become fodder for headlines and social media speculation, fueling debates about capability. The hand bruise, for a younger president, might be a footnote. For Trump, it's a headline. Every mark or misstep is scrutinized, dissected, and discussed, often overshadowing policy or leadership. Opponents use his age and health as political weapons, raising questions about his fitness for office. Campaign ads and debates focus on his stamina, while pundits speculate about his ability to handle crises. The administration tries to counter this with displays of energy and stamina. Public appearances are carefully choreographed to show Trump as active, alert, and fully engaged. Trump himself boasts about his vigor, trying to flip the narrative. He points to his packed schedule and energetic rallies as proof that age is just a number. But the public is left to sort genuine concern from political spin. Americans debate whether the scrutiny is fair or simply a tactic, and whether age should matter as much as it does. Ageism is real, but so are legitimate health questions for someone in such a demanding role. The line between prejudice and prudence is thin, and voters must weigh both. The debate isn't just medical, it's about age, power, and the realities of modern leadership. As the world's challenges grow more complex, the question of who is fit to lead becomes even more urgent, and it's not going away. As the nation watches, the conversation about age, health, and leadership will only intensify in the years ahead. In today's politics, a president's health is instantly weaponized. Trump's bruised hand became a symbol for critics, not just of frailty but of secrecy and instability. The narrative, if they'll hide a bruise, what else are they hiding, especially about harsh policies? Trump's administration has pushed tough-on-crime measures, cut social programs, and centralized power. Critics link the secrecy about his health to the administration's broader lack of transparency. The health issue becomes a metaphor for a government seen as both unwell and untrustworthy. The White House, in turn, doubles down on projecting strength, which can look like overcompensation. This cycle, health scare, secrecy, suspicion, feeds itself, giving opponents more ammunition, and the administration is left playing constant defense. The bruised hand saga ends with a bigger problem: eroded public trust. When people see a cover-up and get an incomplete explanation, they feel misled. This damages not just the president's credibility but the entire administration's. If the White House spins stories about a bruise, what about bigger issues? The administration's strategy of concealment has only deepened the crisis. Radical transparency could have diffused the situation, but instead, suspicion grows. Now every statement and appearance will be scrutinized for signs of weakness or deception. The bruise may fade, but the damage to trust lingers. In the age of relentless media, hiding the truth, even about something small, only makes the wound bigger.